Hello everyone, welcome back to my class. You know that I am Halimani San, junior lecturer and teacher of Elizabeth High School and Junior College. So in today's class we will discuss about the chapter 2nd, which is dealing with the social studies of 9th class, and chapter name is the natural rims of the earth, about lithosphere. So in this chapter, the earth scientists usually talk about the 4 natural rims of the earth. So here the rims are area which have some common features, and these are the lithosphere, hydrosphere, atmosphere and biosphere. So see this rims of peak. So after observing the picture of these rims of the earth, now we will discuss about the lithosphere. Here, what is this? So here lithosphere. It is the solid crust or the earth, top part of the earth here. So it is made up of the rocks, minerals and covered with a thick layer of soil. So here it is not a smooth surface as we see on the globe, but it has the high mountains, plateaus, highlands and low plains, deep valleys and very deep basins which are filled with the water, that is oceans and rivers. So here the many of these features are shaped by wind and water. So here the portion of these crust in the form of dust etc. are mingled with the air too. So here when the lithosphere heats up due to the summers and cool down, it influences the air and water too. Exactly. So live on this realm, we use the rocks, soils and other things found on this hard crust in many ways. Absolutely. So all these is about the lithosphere. Now we will see about the hydrosphere. Here the realm of the water is called hydrosphere. So here some part of the water is found deep down under the earth among the rocks. So here like groundwater or the mineral water we can say. So it comprises of the various source of water and the different type of water bodies like river, lake, seas, oceans etc. are there, and this one we know very well. So this is about the hydrosphere. Now we will see about the atmosphere. So here atmosphere, when we come to the atmosphere, here the thin layer of air that surrounds the earth is atmosphere. So here it consists of a large number of gases including oxygen, nitrogen, carbon dioxide, water vapor etc. and dust particles also. So this is about the atmosphere. Now we will see about the biosphere. Here in biosphere, this realm of life including the bacteria which live high up in the atmosphere or in deep oceans and constitutes the biosphere here. And here the life needs the presence of all the 3 realms, that is the land, water and air. Exactly. So these realms are the deeply interrelated and influence to each other. So here all these about the realms of the earth. Get it here. Now we will see about the landforms. Here in landforms, lithosphere deals with the land we live upon. Okay. So here the crust of the earth is uneven and very low basins are now filled with the oceans, and then there are the continents. So here these are known as the first order landforms, or the primary division of the earth's crust into the oceans and continents. So see this map which is consist of the oceans and continents also. So here after seeing the continents and the oceans on the map, here the surface of the continents is not even. They have the plain and lowlands, plateaus and high mountains are there. So here they are also in a way a result of the internal process of the earth. So these landforms like mountain, plains, plateaus are called second order landforms. Get it here. Now we will see about the jigsaw puzzle and the moving plates. So here in this we have already saw how many continents look like a piece of the jigsaw puzzle. Exactly what we have just seen in the first chapter. So here how the scientists thought that in the beginning and probably all the continents were held together, and how they broke up and gradually drift and come to their present places. So here, after years of the careful study, here the geologists have concluded that all the continents and even the oceans are actually situated on the massive base of rocks called plates. Get it here? So there are about the 7 major plates on the earth and the several minor ones. So here the major plates are African plate, North American, South American, Indo-Australian, Antarctic, Eurasian and Pacific plates. So here among the minor plates are the Nazca and the Arabian plates are there. So what is special about these plates? And these plates are actually float on the mantle and they are constantly being pushed, and so therefore they keep moving slowly on the mantle here. They move so slow that we can't feel the movement, but as a result of this movement, one plate push to the another neighboring plate. So here the region where the two plates meet and push each other, so here the lot of pressure is exerted by each of them on other. So here one plate is pushed under the mantle while the other plate is pushed up to form the chain of mountain here. So this movement of plates is called the plate tectonics. So here this process causes earthquakes also. So see this map of the world plates where the tectonic plates movements and active their activities on the mantle. Here the seafloor spreading is also the activity. What is that? We will see. Here the geologists studying the crust under the sea have discovered the under some oceans like the Pacific Ocean, and they are the mid-ocean ridges or the ranges. So they are formed by the lava rising up from the mantle, and so here the eruption of the ridges create a new ocean floor made of the basalt rock, and which then spread literally from the ridges. So here the mid-ocean ridges contains the newest crust formed on the planet here. So this fresh crust is being slowly pulled up away from the ridge winding the ocean basin. So this leads to what is called? It is called as a sea floor spreading. So after this we will see the drama at the margins here. Here the margins of the planets or the boundaries where the plates meet and are the sites of the highest geologic activity here. So we saw how new crust is formed leading to the sea floor spreading along the mid-ocean ranges also. Now see these pictures of the stages. So after this drama of the margins, here the slow movements and the sudden movements. Okay. What will happen in this? We will see. Here we saw the two kinds of changes in the lithosphere. Exactly. The first one is that the very slow movements leading to the formation of the crust. Here the movement of the continental plates and their eventual return to the mantle. Get it here? And whereas in second, here the sudden and the dramatic eruption of the volcanoes and earthquakes has taken place. So here the sudden movements can be destructive and cause the much damage. At the same time, they also lead to change in the landforms also. So what is volcano and how it is happened, we will see. First see this picture of the volcano and observe that the volcanoes are the places on the earth's surface where the molten material from the mantle erupts on the earth's surface. So this molten material is also accompanied by the steam, smoke and the various form of gases from the depth of the earth. Exactly. So here the smoke, the ash and the dust spread out in the atmosphere while the molten materials cool and form hard rocks called igneous rocks here. Here some part of the lava may not reach the surface and may cool under the surface and become rocks. So these are called the intrusive landforms. So here they are usually covered with the older rocks and are exposed sometimes due to erosion of the covering rocks. Here a part of the lava which pours on the surface of the earth forms the extrusive landforms. Not at all of them come from the volcanoes here. Some of them are poured out of the fissures on the earth's surface and spread all around them. So such flows of lava, for example, occurred many times on the Deccan, leading to the formation of the extensive lava plateau. Get it here? So after the internal processes, how the lava occurred and how it is taking a shape, now we will see about the external process here. We saw how the rocks and the mountains rise up due to the internal process. So here the external process like water and air are working to wear away the surface, and the interaction of these constructive and destructive forces give rise to a great diversity of present day landforms. Exactly. So these external processes on the land, water, air away the surface of the rocks and mountains. So then they transport the worn out and the particles and deposits them in a lowland and basins also. So this process of wearing away the deposition and the causes of a general leveling of the surface. So here this shaping of the landform by wind and the water is called the third order landforms. Okay. By the geographers. Exactly. So these landforms include the features like the carved mountains, valleys, deltas and sand dunes, etc. will be come in this. So here the process like the weathering, erosion and the transportation and the deposition are the largely responsible for these landforms. Get it here? So it is known as the denudation process. Here the denudation is a continuous process. Here the lowlands, what we see today, were once mountains and plateaus. Here the landforms continuously keep changing due to the denudation activities. Exactly. But these changes occur very slowly. The structure of mountains, plateaus and plains keep on changing through the process known as erosion cycle or geographic cycle. Get it here? So here the hard primary rocks are broken into the small pieces. These smaller pieces are cut off from the parent rock and carried lower down to the other places and the deposit there. So this process is formally defined as weathering, erosion, transportation and deposition. Get it here? So after that, now we will see about the work of water here. So here they recount the course of the water form, its sources and guess how it will be the enrolled, transport and deposits rock materials. Here the work of a river begins from its oversource in the high mountains, and the flow of a river is very swift as it descends the steep slopes, and it exerts a great force in cutting the mountains vertically. As a result, the deep valleys develops the narrow at the bottom and the right at the top. So here this is usually called a V-shaped valley. So in this shape, the water has such force that it can move even very heavy and hard rocks also. So see this V-shaped valley picture. But in some cases where the rocks are very hard, here the river cuts a very narrow valley. Here these sides are too steep that the gorges are formed here. Here the basin gorge in AP on the Godavari and the Indus gorge in Kashmir are the examples for this. But here the another important erosion form which is called as the canyon. Here the canyon is characterized by the steep side slope and maybe as deep as Georgia. Here a gorge is almost equal in width and its top as well as its bottom. So here in contrast, a canyon is wider as its top than at the bottom. So see these pictures of the canyon and the gorge. So here as the river enters the plain, the slope is gentle and the river also slow down. So it doesn't have the force to carry the heavy particles and deposit them on its bank or on its bed. So here sometimes when the river is floated, it has a greater force and cut the soil exactly, which is called as silt. Here in some process and activities, then it change its course and cuts a new path. So here this resulted in the rivers constantly changing the course in a plain. In its flood plains, here the river often forms the meanders and the gentle turns like a snake. So see this picture, it's formed. Here due to the deposition along the sides of the meander, here the ends of the meander loop comes closer and closer. So in due to course of the time, here the meander loop cut off from the river and form the cut off lake, which is called as the Oxbow Lake. See this shape of the Oxbow Lake. Now after the work of water, now we will discuss about the work of the glacier here, how it is work and how they form a new features on the earth's surface. So here it snows heavily, they get the snowfall instead of rainfall here. So this snow accumulates and hardens into ice. So as it accumulates and it flows slowly down till it reaches warm area where the ice melts and small rivers started. Exactly. So this is how the river Ganga is formed from the Gangotri glaciers in the Himalayas. Get it? So here slow movement of the mass of the ice, which is a river of ice, is called a glacier here. The movement of the glacier is very slow, unlike water flow. So here the movement would be a few centimeters a day or even a less or more can be. So here the glacier basically move because of the force of gravity here. The glacier endures through a process called the plucking, in which it lifts the pieces of the rocks and transports them. Here these pieces of rocks and the moving ice together act like a sandpaper here on the surface of the rock over which they flow. Get it here? So just sandpaper remove small particles of the wood and the glacier acts as the abrasive and endures the bedrock. So here through this dual process of the plucking and the abrasion, glaciers create the U-shaped valley. So see this U-shaped valley. So the glaciers come under the work of glaciers, how they form the U-shaped valley. After this, now we will see about the work of waves here. Here the erosion and the deposition by the sea waves give rise to the coastal landforms here. As sea waves continuously strike at the rock and crack developed into them over a time. Exactly. So here the hollow caves are formed on the rocks as the cavities becomes bigger and bigger. So only the roof of the cave remain and forms sea arcs here. Erosion breaks the roof and only the walls are left. So these walls like features called the stacks. So see these pictures how the sea cave and the sea arc and the stacks and the sea cliffs are formed through the work of waves here. After the work of waves and the formations of that all, now we will discuss about the work of wind here. Now we will see how the wind works and how it forms and how it works. So here we read about the changes caused by the water on the lithosphere exactly, and we know very well this one. So in this section we will come to know the changes in the atmosphere, particularly the movement of the winds. So here the wind is a dominant agent in the hot deserts. About the 1/5 of the world's land is made up of deserts only. Some are rocky, others are stony, where others are very sandy. So here the strong winds carry and the fine soil which strike the large rocks. So these two act as the abrasive sandpaper and endure the hard rocks. So here the wind action creates number of interesting erosional and the depositional features in the deserts. Get it here? So see some of these features. Sometimes the work of the wind forms the sand dunes also. What is sand dunes? We will see. Due to the weathering and the persistent wind action, there is a large accumulation of a fine sand in many deserts. So here these forms the sand dunes here. These are the stable hills of the sand which move with the strong winds, and they form a number of shapes as they move and settle down. So here the fine dust and the blue beyond the desert limits is deposited on neighboring lands. So here it is yellow in color and it is very fertile. So this soil is called loess here. Here the loess, in fact, its feature is fine loam and rich in the lime and very coherent and extremely porous. Here the plain forms by the deposition of the losses are called the losses plain here. So see this picture of this sand dunes and the losses plains. So here after the work of a wind, now we will see the action of the vegetation and the human beings here. In this section, we shall examine and the impact of the biosphere on the lithosphere. In what ways do you think does the vegetation? Here the trees, plants and the grass and the affected rocks are they. They contribute to the weathering of rocks by deriving the roots into the fine cracks and the holes in the rocks. Get it here? So they also enable the water and the moisture to enter into the rocks, which further enables the weathering. Exactly. So on other hand, on other side, here the plant or the grass covered on the soil prevents the easy denudation or the transportation of soil by wind or air here. So here the human beings, especially after the Industrial Revolution, have had a major role in transforming the crust on which we live now. So get it? What are the changes and how the movements have taken place and how the work is formed, the features of the earth and the crust, and how the four layers and the limbs of the earth has working and what they are giving to us. Get it here? So by this we have completed our second chapter that is the natural limbs of the earth, lithosphere. Thank you.